Well. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. Wish you a very happy and nice, relaxing start to your Sunday morning over here from Tallinn, Estonia. It's almost hard to not say Helsinki, Finland. It's been so long, but you know what? Moving on to new places. And of course, as always, want to be wishing you the best, the happiest of the happiest. And we got plenty to talk about today as Bitcoin having a nice little leg up in the overnight session, at least overnight for me, perhaps early morning for the Western Hemisphere out there. And with that said, let's wait some more time, getting the live scene right here, right now. Teleportation initiated, and there it is. Bitcoin in all of its glory on the daily. Let's start off here with the daily, as always. Bitcoin taking the path to the upside right here, and of course, this is why. Actually, it's going to be better to go into the lower time frames to explain this, but this is why, essentially, I was looking at this area and saying, hey, you have no, well, I shouldn't say you have, but I have no downside trade unless if this 6,900-ish support is broken. That obviously did not happen, and what happens after that? Everyone's talking about head and shoulders this, head and shoulders that. Guys, we have a head and shoulders. Did you know about the head and shoulders? Have you heard about the head and shoulders? Oh, go fuck yourself with a massive green dildo straight up to the sky, and of course, classic shit. This was never head and shoulders to begin with. In fact, you do see the rising bottoms over here. The neckline was not well defined, and that is one of the key factors of a head and shoulders. Not that I even really looked to play head and shoulders to begin with. Yes, they do play out. Yes, they can be a decent pattern, but when you're playing with the trend, when the trend is to the upside, head and shoulders are not very high quality pattern actually. Just like an inverted head and shoulders on a downtrending, on a downtrend is not going to actually be too high probability as well. It's always better to play with the trend and give the nod to the current trend. As always, the saying goes, the trend is your friend until the end of the trend. I know I'm not saying anything new here, but of course, just another reminder that, hey, trading can be as easy or as hard as you allow it to be. And right here, again, 6,900 never broken, actually gave you a second time, or not even really a second time to buy yesterday. Got down to about 7,200 and then popped right back on up. Now, the key critical marker of this was when we took out this 7,400-ish region right here. Now, it's funny because actually yesterday I didn't mention this one all that much, but I did get a few messages saying, Krown, what do you think about the 7,400-ish level? Krown, do you think 7,400 is going to nail this back down? Krown, 7,400 has to hold. It's a head and shoulders. Well, no. No, man. This is a weekend, and during the weekend, whenever we get this, these sort of patterns where we have these rising bottoms, which look intrinsically bearish from a pattern perspective, the pattern trader is going to call this bearish. The way that I look at that, this is that this is reaccumulation, and we're getting marched up all the way back to our next level. Now, of course, the other, our next sort of signal right over here. And sorry, this was best to be viewed on an hourly, was when we broke this next blue box territory right over here at around 75.50, I believe it was. That's what I was talking about. Yes, and that was my marker for having a full-on run over about 8,000 once again. Now, I do think that we actually have a little bit of a pullback here. We actually have seen a little bit of a wick to the downside already, but if this thing comes back down to about 7,800-ish area, I would actually be looking for it to be picked up somewhere right around there. If it did come up back all the way down to 7,600 to 7,650, a little bit more of a high probability area right over there. However, this is the key critical point right now. If we do actually smash back down below this broken blue box territory at about, let's call it 76.50, then I would be looking for a move back down to the low side of the range. However, I think that's actually the less likely thing to happen. Although, now that I mention it, I do have to remind myself that CMEs did close on Friday at 71.75, and they will be opening up later tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So with regards to where spot is in relation to CMEs, is going to really actually be, in my opinion, the next big trade or potential trade. It doesn't always have to happen, as as you've seen in the past, or happen immediately. But overall, if we do open up with a massive gap to the upside, assuming that Bitcoin stays around this 7,900 to 8,000 region by CME open later tonight, then yes, I actually would be looking to be a buyer of any sort of a pullback into that region. But keep in mind that CME is closed all the way at 71.75, so that could incite a larger pullback. As time goes on, the more that Bitcoin travels right now to the upside, the more that it will, open up the possibility for another one of these moves that we saw this past week, where Bitcoin has a massive move to the downside, fills a gap, and then gets bought back up immediately. Well, doesn't necessarily mean it needs to get bought back up immediately, but I would be looking for a nice scalp. That's essentially the play that I'm getting at. Now, could it be a scenario that we actually smash back down to 71.50, maybe even get below by the time that CME is open later tonight? I suppose it's possible. And if that were to happen, yes, I would be a seller, and that would probably be a trending trade as well. It'd probably be a trade that would likely take this thing not just back to 71.75, but actually back down to into the lower 6,000. So with that said, I'm not necessarily leaning towards that happening. I'm leaning actually towards Bitcoin keeping it up, maybe having a little bit of a pullback. 7,800 I think is quite likely. 7,650 a little bit less likely, but if it did get down there, I would be looking for a pickup. And of course, if that area gets destroyed, then the whole bias from my perspective changes. So just kind of sharing the way that I'm thinking about this range, and overall keeping it simple on the lower time frames. It doesn't need to be any more crazy than this. Looking at our oscillators, we do see 4-hour Stokes getting up and erect, and I do like that. I do like some very nice and erect Stokes. You do see that we are grinding this resistance right here, which typically is a good setup when you have Stokes headed up, getting momentum to the upside, and you're grinding up against resistance. Doesn't mean that we're going to break it like this fucking instant, but overall, you do see the 21 exponential moving average is going to start to this yellow moving average right here is going to start to travel up and meet that critical 76.50ish area. So as long as the more time that Bitcoin spends going sideways here, the more and more time these moving averages have to get up and onwards, and the more time that Bitcoin is given to essentially create another base, and we do likely make another stab towards the prior highs at about 82.50ish area. That's going to be the top of this formation right here. Sorry, you can barely see it actually. Let me adjust it like this. There we go. That looks a lot better. This guy right over here between about 82.50 to 83.50, a nice $100 range. If we do break to the upside of that, we can talk about resistances higher like 8,700, 9,000. I know that people are going to be going crazy about that, but overall, I from a higher time frame perspective, not even a daily, but a weekly, and just taking everything off, getting naked on this one. It's not going to stop at 9,000. It's going to go to 10,000 or 10,000, give or take a few bucks, somewhere in this region right here. I know a lot of people are going crazy off the 9,000 because, it's the 9,000 meme and all that good shit. But hey, the way that I look at it is not so much. But of course, just like yesterday to the downside, you don't want to get too excited until this area actually breaks. I'd say just like that, I wouldn't get too excited until we see this upper resistance right here break. So again, the stakes are high for both sides. Until that happens, we're just in a massive trading range. It's just a massive trading range. The only thing to do in a trading range is just, play the supporting resistance. It's no more complicated than that. Again, I know this sounds simplistic, and in some ways it is, but a lot of the time, this is the going rate as far as trading goes. It can be that simple. I really fear for the people who try to make like a mountain out of a molehill, analyzing, especially on a weekend, doing all sorts of crazy calculations, which yes, can be good, but at the end of the day, what makes money? Well, fair, you tell me, right? Anyways, just to follow up my own positions, I did not take trades yesterday. I'm still kind of setting up my own apartment, so I'm pretty much flat, but holding my account balance in coin right now, and I'm happy to hold my account balance in coin just because the trend is still obviously your friend. So I'm happy to do that, but because I can't be at my computer all day trading, I don't want to have like open deltas, especially on a weekend where more often than not we actually don't get these moves. But yesterday, a nice what was it? Almost about a $750 move. Yeah, that's pretty damn good. So don't get me wrong, there certainly was opportunity, and I was not catching it. But hey, that's life. That's life, son. Anyways, going back onto the daily, let's go check out the daily oscillators. I kind of skipped through this one. Overall, let's look at the daily moving averages right here. We do see the San 89 exponential moving average getting very close to that blue 377 exponential moving average. They're slowly but surely migrating above, just lower periods above higher periods, just overall setting the longer term trend most likely. Not most likely, very likely. And as long as Bitcoin just doesn't, come back down below 6,000 in the next 3 days, I'd say that we do get that confirmation there. And then the last one that I want to see is this purple 200 exponential moving average crossing above the blue 377 exponential moving average. And then at that point in time, it's all right. It's gonna take a long time to undo that. So overall, I think the people who are looking for a massive move to the downside, and when I say massive move to the downside, I don't even mean back here to about 5,400. I mean like the people who are looking for new lows off this area. I do know that there's a lot of people looking for that. I think that you're not gonna. I don't think that you see Bitcoin do that anytime soon, if at all. Because first things first, 5,400 is the big base as far as I'm concerned. As long as bulls hold this area right here, this is, that is your pivot for being generally bullish as far as, the current macro trend goes. Now, of course, all time frames are bullish below a monthly, and a monthly is just not bullish because of a technicality, which is very important. Don't get me wrong, but we don't have higher highs and higher lows on the monthly just yet. If we were to close this monthly anywhere above about 7,700, about 7,750, 7,800 a share up, we will have our first higher high in progress, and then at some point in time, we will come back down and make a higher low. Where does that happen? I mean, first we need to set in the higher high first, and then we'll make everyone sweat. And I'd imagine that, if Bitcoin is to remain bullish, we'll set it somewhere down around 6,000, maybe 5,500, and that would be right around this yellow 20-month moving average, actually. Which, again, if you've been tuning this content for a while, this has been incredibly important for me for the last, for forever, but for the last 6 months to 7 months especially, because that was my marker from my prior life as being a market maker on the floor of New York Stock Exchange ARCA in judging if stocks were generally bullish, generally bearish on the monthly. And if we're above the 21, generally bullish; below the 21, generally bearish. Well, Bitcoin is going to have a chance to both open and close its first monthly total above the 21 exponential moving average. Since losing it in like October, November, which would be a confirmed kill of this moving average. Obviously, we did get our first close above, which was produced a pretty damn good result, and we just got to wait about 11 days now, or how many days are in May? Is it 30 or 31? 31. Holy fuck! Too many days in this goddamn month. Anyways, that's fine. Is this the month of Memorial Day? Well, how am I going to celebrate that in Estonia? Do they have Memorial Day here? Probably not. It's like basically Russia. No, just kidding. Don't tell them that because they're going to really not like that. Anyways, with that regard, that would be kind of like the final piece from, just about anything that I care about. Like I said, though, more of a technicality. All time frames below monthly are bullish and have been bullish since basically about 5,000 right over here, which again is why I'm holding on to these long positions and why I'm holding my account balance on long. So here's the thing, and here's kind of the next move for me. So you do see, and I'm just going to explain the way that I'm kind of trading this one, just because well, why not? But of course, this, it's not going to be applicable to everyone. But understand my positions here. I'm basically flat. I will be getting rid of this short and uncovering and going long once again on my margin positions. If we do see CMEs open today and spot is trading anywhere above 7,200, I will close that short position on the next pullback anywhere down around 76 to 7,500 ish area. Tentatively speaking. Now, of course, it could be it could be a scenario where we actually break this resistance, beforehand. We actually make our way up to 8,300. Then I'd probably, close that position on another down to 8,000-ish area maybe. But tentatively speaking, to me, this is what it looks like we're doing right now. We are creating another reaccumulation pattern. Looks to me like we're probably going to be in progress of making an ascending triangle. Now, this is a little bit too early to really call it, to be quite honest with you. But this would be a more experimental type look at this. As long as we follow this trend line, I would actually give the nod more immediately to a bullish reaccumulation pattern. And this would have a measure move to be made off of, which I'm going to imagine probably does put us somewhere in the 9,000s. If we do it right over here, where does that put us at? Actually, nope, it puts us at my level right around 9,600. Okay, beautiful. Fucking beautiful. And this is what I mean. I don't believe that Bitcoin's going to stop at, 8,700 or 9,000 or anything like that. If we do break this one to the upside, we're likely to move pretty aggressively towards these prior highs right over here. And overall, this is a damn powerful move. Just looking at the volume signature down here. I mean, and I'm kind of getting off track here, but or perhaps something that I wanted to talk about later, but I'll talk about it right now just because it's on the tip of my tongue. We do see this increasing volume to the upside. I mean, this is basically exactly what you want to see. We do see daily Stokes actually still headed down, but price action has been headed up today. So again, just allowing the oscillator to reset as we come back down, test our more preliminary support, hold up beautifully, and fill the gap on the CMEs along the way. And then and it looks to me like we actually want to we want to take up a little bit more. Daily RSI. What is it telling us right here? Just oscillating between the bullish control zone and the neutral zone. But looks to me like it wants to pop back up and test the exponential. So I do think that overall this is just a consolidation right here, and gonna take its time. But for now, the consolidation I would say is certainly more bullish. Looking at the 12-hour, same sort of thing. Actually even to a greater degree. This really reminds me of what we were looking at down around here, where Bitcoin was kind of switching around. We came down to the 21 exponential moving average. and everyone was getting really bearish off of it. But of course, until you actually break it, my rule is if you have the golden cross. If you have the golden cross, I am not short. I'm not directional short as long as you're above the yellow 21 exponential moving average, and especially as long as you're above all major moving averages. But it just gets reaccumulated right around this area. We do see 12-hour Stokes actually getting all the way down to the lower end of the bullish control zone, actually the neutral zone, and then what happens? We get picked up, and again, just allowed it to reset. And I really like this look on it. Let's go to the 2-day, see what this one's doing. 2-day Stokes are actually headed down right now, but keep in mind that I do believe that we are actually forming something like this. So while it is getting a little bit extended, and while this typically is actually a little bit more of a warning signal, if we do pop back down around this area, that's probably going to hold and probably does provide the impetus for another try. And look at this, the 2-day has actually already taken out the high of the prior dildo and looking pretty damn strong to me actually as well. Looking at the 2-day RSI. Now here's the problem. The next time that we actually, if Bitcoin does move up, we're going to create some pretty nasty bearish divergence on the 2-day RSI. I mean, assuming that we don't get above this prior high on the RSI, but it's going to be pretty fucking hard to do that. Overall, looking at 2-day Jewel, don't really have too much to be said about this. I do not consider this a signal, in any way in any way, shape, or form. And holy shit, I might sneeze. My allergies going crazy right now as I forgot to bring my forgot to bring my allergy shit. 1 second as I do very disgusting things. Sorry about that. I do apologize about this. Extremely unprofessional. But what I'm going to do right now is about to blow your minds. Woo! Motherfucker. Oh, and nice. My face is still red as fuck, but I'm actually working on that. I forgot to mention that. I'm going to be getting some more lights. I figured out the issue. It's a lighting issue. Need to get more lights. And of course, I'm wearing the orange shirt today, so it's not Guantanamo Bay, but it's also Tomato Bay. Get this face on fire, baby. As Bitcoin moves up. Anyways, let's see. What do we got on the 3-day? Yeah, so this was the other big thing, right? So this was the thing that I was monitoring for this past week, and really the next, the next big signal as far as I was looking towards. And we confirmed above the 200 moving average yesterday. And I don't even know if I probably did mention it in yesterday's video, but I hope that I was vocal enough over this past week saying that, hey, this was the next big frontier for me. If we end above the 200 moving average, I don't really have a reason to be bearish. That we have both opened and closed a 3-day dildo now above the 200 moving average. This is the first time that we've really done that since, well, I'm sorry, I mean, since right over here, 2018. But more importantly, you do see that the 200 simple, from a historical standpoint, has been a pretty damn good indication of where we are in the overall market cycle. When Bitcoin lost it over here, bad. When Bitcoin regained it over here, good. And you do see that we're actually maintaining it right now. So both opening and closing above this does kind of confirm it in my mind, in my mind's eye. We do see 3-day Stokes actually headed down. Which would be a little bit more nasty. Some people would consider this a bearish dildo right here just because it does have a long wick to the downside. I would say that that's, to be considered actually a bull wick because we did close above the major moving average. So again, a little bit more of the art in the technical analysis being applied right here. But hey, if we actually do take out the 200 simple to the downside, if that does happen, and that's currently at around 71.25, then yes, I would be looking for a more prolonged retracement into the lower 6,000s, upper 5,000s region. But for right now, not really not my first read on this. My first read, we do see the 3-day RSI kind of fucking around the exponential. I don't, it's kind of the same thing as a 2-day. If Bitcoin does make new highs from here, it will very likely put in divergence. But more importantly, what I've been speaking on for a while now is the 3-day Jewel, right? The 3-day Jewel, which has kind of given me insight into where we are like overall. And if you back test this, it has been damn good at calling not only the bottoms for perfectly on the market cycles on Bitcoin in 2015 and currently at our current low in December 2018. But also these very nice tops as well, which each and every time that it does, get a very specific signal. It's not every time that you get red in the background, but when you get red in the background and then you get the light blue oscillator into the more critical zone and they get a negative slope on it, it creates some pretty nasty dives down. Starting off with this first one right over here, about a 50% move down. This one right over here, about a 75% move down. This one right over here. Wait, come on, you fuck. The 70% move down right over there. And then the other ones, a little bit less aggressive. This one about 50%, that's still pretty aggressive. This one about 35%. This one right over here about 30%. This one right over here about 35%, and you get the idea. Around 30 to 40% is kind of like the mean of these, right? And you can see that actually we're having a little bit of a signal right now. But keep this in mind, we're actually not that deep into the critical territory. When we were getting these very, very nasty drop downs, the light blue oscillator was getting way, way deep into this, around the 88 to 90ish read. That's when it actually had like a 30 to 40% correction, I guess you could say. If you 30 to 40% is not a fucking correction. That is a massive, massive red dildo party is what it really is. But just using right net lexicon, technically speaking, this one, you could, as we discussed before, it is not a signal in and of itself right now, because first things first, we have not gotten into the more critical zone. And second, more importantly, while we do have red in the background, and while we do have the light blue in the technical critical zone above the 80 read, we do not have it. We do not have it with a negative slope right now. And we actually have one other example of this actually happening in Bitcoin's history. We have the first drive right over here. This first drive right over here, where we do get a very light signal. We only get up to about an 82, and then it gets a negative slope, and then what we have about a 11.5% drop down. Well, there's actually one other example of that happening in Bitcoin's history right here, just a one-off where we get red for a second, Bitcoin gets very shallow into this region, and then gets a negative slope, right? And that actually does produce, about a 10-11% drop down, right? Then after that, and this is what I'm kind of thinking right now, Bitcoin gets picked up by the light pink and gets marched up into the more critical zone, setting up for the real big sell. And that's the one that, hey, what's up on Twitch, man? Cryptoscapades, good to meet you, man. And thank you for joining on Twitch, man. And so if you're not on Twitch, think about joining Twitch, because Twitch is purple and it's awesome. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking right over here, and what I think is the potential to happen over here. So does this rally potentially have more to go? I think it's very possible, as we've been saying for the past couple of weeks. Keep in mind that the light blue oscillator getting into this more critical zone, it's going to take some time, just because, well, each and every tick is 3 days worth of price action, and we just got a new one. I believe it was last night. Yeah, we just got a new one last night. So if this thing is to march up into the more critical zone, as we've seen in the past, that's still going to take maybe 1 to 3 more not one, but about two to three more ticks, I'd say, before it can actually really even have a chance to get into this region. That's assuming that we have another pretty aggressive move to the upside, and then that would set it up for a pretty massive correction. So that whatever that next correction is, whenever we get that next signal, that's going to be my next big buy-in for a more longer term hodl. Both on position margin and also on bringing them in my main trading account back, as most of my trading account is actually still at this market. I'd say about 40% in this market right now. But just kind of going off what we talked about earlier, let's kind of put the puzzle piece together. What if we, and this is very bad what I'm about to do, but I'm about to, interpret price action, do some crystal ball type shit, which I don't think is good technical analysis, but just for a little bit of mental masturbation, it's good. Blue brain's very bad for you, so better mentally masturbate that one away. And so what if we did make it all the way up to that, 96 to 9,800-ish target right around here? Well, if we were to play out a 30 to 35% correction to the downside, where would that put us at? Well, 35% puts us right down around where? If I can even get my words out properly, low 6,000, which is the top side of of our critical bull base. If we were to play out a 40% down move, that put us right around 5,600, which is kind of like the bottom side of it. And really. There's actually multiple areas within here. Let's go through it a little bit more. I think this is best to be seen on CMEs. I'll go back to a daily. I already have my fibs in here, but it should match up with some fibs, right? And we do see currently the way that it's situated, if we were to put in a top here, we'd have a retracement down at the 382, down around, where we actually currently had a wake the 0.5 right around 58, and then the 618 right around 52. So that's if we put in a top right here. That's kind of the areas that I'd be looking for an over retracement. We already tested the 382, so it's very likely that we actually come down to 58 or about 52. But let's just extend this for a second. If we got all the way up to that, what was it, like 96, somewhere right around here. Where would that put us at now? Well, look at that. The 618 coming in where? Coming in right around 5650. The 0.5 coming in right around 6,400. Yeah, the 0.5 actually wouldn't make too much sense right there. But the 618 would look rather good. So again, it's going to really depend where we get on this next drive. And that's what I'd be looking at. It does match up also with a lot of our a lot of our technicals on a daily time frame. We see all of these moving averages convert, well, not conversion, but they're gaining momentum to the upside around that. They're going to be migrating to that 5,600-ish range. Actually, the more time that Bitcoin spends, at the very least, in just not going down here, the more time that they have to migrate upwards, and that's going to, and that's going to imply that they probably do get somewhere right around here if we spend even another, couple weeks in this region. And where is that? Right around 5,800, 5650 ish area, so this is the next big area. Looking at the weekly and looking at the weekly exponential moving averages, we are going to get a bullish cross of the green 55 and the cyan 89. And also, we already do have a nice bullish cross of the red 10 simple and the yellow 21 exponential moving average, which are gaining massive divergence away from each other and gaining a lot of momentum just to the upside as well. That would be another bullish look. Where all these moving averages coming in around about 5,500, so they will be migrating up as well. The more time that Bitcoin just doesn't come back down essentially. Here's the biggest counterpoint to what I'm saying right now. The most bearish counterpoint to what I'm saying, and that is on the CMEs. And we closed Friday on CME as a massive long-legged doji dildo, an extremely heavy volume, which typically is a signal of indecision and perhaps even reversal. But remember, in order to play this one, and so you don't get stuck with a massive green dildo up your bunghole, coming out your mouth hole as well, like shish kebab style, is I wait for us to actually take out the low of this. Now, I know that that's all the way at 63.20. But hey, there's a shit ton of edge on this trade, because if we did take out the low of this dildo at 63.20, then I would immediately target a move down to about 5,300. So $1,000 move, extremely high probability with potential to get a $2,000 move all the way down to about 4,200 would be the next big base. But as you can see, spot charts not looking at all like that. But remember, spot charts close at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So that's a lot of time for Bitcoin to fuck around here. And if Bitcoin does find itself back around the 7,000-ish region by close at 8 p.m., then yes, it will look a little bit more nasty. But for now, a nice, thick, girthy body in progress. And if CMEs do, if spot can hold it up there, CMEs will open up with a pretty massive, another massive gap on the lower time frame. So that actually be not a bad thing. So again, that's kind of the both ways that I see it. Of course, I think that it would be appropriate to front run that decision if we do at all break about 7,000 on the CMEs. If we and close below 7,000 in like a 4-hour total time frame, then yes, I do believe that we would initiate that move likely down to about 54, 53. There will be stops along the way, there will be bounces along the way, but from a weekly time frame perspective, very, 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 very likely to get down there, and then we can reassess once we get down there, and then then maybe potentially target around a $4,200, a move down to $4,200. What I'm trying to say. Anyways, okay, is my phone charged? Come on, phone, be good. There we go. Good phone. All right, cool. So yeah, I do think that it would be worth a position if we actually did break this on CMEs. 4-hour dildo close below about 70.50 on spot. That would amount to a 4-hour dildo close. I'd say comfortably below 6,900. I'd be comfortable making a call like that. But from a weekly perspective, technically you'd want to wait for the prior wick of last week's CME dildo at 63.20 to get taken out. And then, yes, I'd be looking for about $1,000 move lower. Okay, so cool. Spoke about all of that. What else do we want to talk about? Yeah, let's talk about, I guess we can talk about this for a second. Margin positions on Phoenix, although, how much does it really matter when now it's common knowledge that you can claim positions, which is... that's enlightening, very enlightening. I mean, I can't make a judgment call on it because it's the fact of the market. If this was traditional markets, you can't fucking do that. You can't just not show positions in the order books. That's insane. It's fucking illegal. But hey, on Phoenix, this is unregulated markets, so there you go. Do whatever you want. Yeah, we do have longs actually paying a pretty decent rate here, about 0.05%. Definitely getting up there to the higher side. We do have an imbalance in favor of the longs as well. Shorts paying about nothing, pretty much nothing. We got 1,000 of these guys hedged, so it's really 16,500 open naked shorts versus 23,500 open longs. So we do have a great imbalance in favor of the shorts. In favor of the longs, which would put a little bit more downwards pressure on price action. So that kind of makes me think that if Bitcoin is going to remain in this more bullish reaccumulation pattern right here, we don't break outside the top anytime soon. In the top, once again being around 83.50. We don't break out of that anytime soon. But probably gonna be an ebb and flow where we play in this range for a little bit of time and then give it go. But overall, like I said, how much weight do I put in longs and shorts data? Not all that much weight. Let's go look at the crypto fear and greed index. We're once again taking out a 70 marker after getting all the way up to an 80, which was our nice resistance. So keep that one in mind, as that was our prior high. And you do see that we're actually just overall forming another trend here. So for the past year, during 2018, we had these nice lower highs, actually calling all the tops perfectly from 12,000, 10,000, 8,400, 7,300, and 6,000. And then once February hit, we actually found a lot of comfort within the more neutral zone, and now we built a base up there. So the overall sentiment has changed, has shifted, and you can see that Bitcoin is it's corresponding with price action. It's actually a little bit more of a tangible one than what we just looked at. I do want to look at some fundamental things as well. I want to look at the Bitcoin price models, which, do I want to keep on talking about this stuff, or have I beaten this horse to death already? The Bitcoin price models have been turning around bullish for the past couple months. We do see all of these. Well, do I want to explain them all? Basically, all of these metrics, which are mainly just different moving averages on like the MVT signal or the market cap, converging on each other, which typically does call lows, as you'd imagine, just in the past right over here. As an aside, and built in, kind of getting a little bit more of a positive slope on a lot of these guys, or neutral slope, which after being negative for a long time, does suggest that the from a fundamental perspective. I just got a message. Could you speak a little slower? Actually, probably not, man, because, well, first things first, you can turn the speed down on the YouTubes, and also, video is going to take too fucking long, man, and I got shit to do. Probably you do too. So fair enough. And as always, man, if it really does bother you, I mean, you don't have to watch the videos. It's like, it's fucking free content, man. It's fucking free content, It's not going to be for everyone. I completely understand that, not everyone's going to like my personality, the way that I do things, or the way that I talk, or the way that my face is red and my shirt is disgustingly orange. Well, what can you do, man? What can you do? Anyways, looking at that, yeah, just another kind of metric that we've been following for a while, saying that overall things are shifting, the tides are shifting, and I'd say that this is like the first time that we've really seen these guys get a positive slope. Looking at the Bitcoin network momentum, this is something that I actually do want to follow up on, just because we still have a little bit of unresolved tension on this one. This is the next big thing from a fundamental perspective in my mind that I'd be looking for to denote that it's full bull on ahead. And what am I talking about here? Well, I'm talking about this oscillator on the bottom correlated with the price action right here, and you can see that this oscillator makes it's momentum, right? We're gaining momentum. We're making higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. Then we get into a bull market, which sets in a nice support trend line for this next cycle, where we're just price action is now falling through with higher lows, and we see that set in right over here. You see, and then you see this all sort of start to get lower highs, and that's when the momentum starts to subside. But it's not until we actually break back, and this is a key point, this is not until we actually break back down below the support trend line where the highs are put in. I mean, it was actually put in just like a few ticks before that, but again, it's it doesn't need to be perfect. And then the bearish trend starts, right? And we're bearish for another year or so, getting all the way into here until Bitcoin starts gaining momentum once again. But I think a lot of people are looking at this in the wrong way. And let me just explain before that sounds extremely arrogant, but I don't believe that you need higher lows for this one to turn around bullish. What I do believe that you need is this brownish oscillator to get back above the prior market cycle support trend line, and that's where you put in your lows, right here. This is one of the things that's kind of a counterpoint to Bitcoin, turning around full on bullish right now from a fundamental perspective. And it's neither confirmed nor denied, but it says that we still haven't really changed around confirmed just yet. Anyways, so you do see that once we take out the support trend line right over here, that's when the low is put in and the bullish momentum begins once again. And then we create another support trend line for this next parabolic market cycle in this area right over here. Price action is going up, and we're kind of creating just a little bit of a trading range. We break below this area, and that's when the highs are put in. Again, a little bit of a lagging indicator, doesn't necessarily get the full on high of here, but overall, good enough is good enough. And then we start heading down once again. Now, if you're looking for Bitcoin to be in a bull market cycle right now, you'd expect to see this oscillator back above this critical point right here. Well, we don't see that actually right now. In fact, we see it getting, actually not, let's zoom in on it. We see it kind of stuttering around this area, just like my stupid voice, but it is actually headed back up once again. So it is looking better, but I do want to see it get back above this area. And that's going to be my next fundamental marker saying, hey, longer term, we're looking good, looking good for another cycle. But for right now, still up in the air, actually. Let me just make sure that this is all well and good. Okay, great. Alrighty. Okay, so what else did I want to talk about? We can talk about the Puel multiple, but there's nothing new there. We can talk about the MBT, so there's nothing really new there. I don't really put too much weight on that. We can talk about the Bitcoin miners revenue. There's nothing new there. They're just all suggesting that the low is in. It's like, how many times can you talk about that before it's just not really relevant anymore, right? So again, let's go. And what else do we want to do? Do we want to go down to the very low time frames and hourly? The crack trader charts. My God, man. Hourly charts on a weekend. Good luck with that. We do have hourly stocks getting a little bit tired here, which actually have been pretty damn good. So, we're hitting a resistance, more preliminary resistance. I don't put too much weight on this one, but a little bit as I stutter around. And that would incite likely a retest back down to about 78. And like I said before, if things get a little bit more nasty, I would be looking for a pickup right around 76.50. If this area fails, however, we will come back down to the low side of the range, most likely around 7,200, fill the gap on the CMEs. And depending upon when that happens in relation to if CMEs are open or closed, is going to be my next big trade. Again, if spot is trading above where CMEs closed at 7 p.m., I'll be a buyer anywhere around that 7,200-ish area. If spot is trading below where CME's closed, if they smash all the way back down around here below 71.75, then yes, I'll be a seller. And probably gets that initial setup for that move downwards. But I don't, like I said, I actually think that that's a little bit less likely to happen right now. I think what's more likely is we get a pullback here, and to those stated areas, and then and then we'll kind of figure it out from there. Did we talk about the medium time frames? Not really, but they haven't been too good. This is your 6 hour. 6 hour looks okay. 6 hour Stokes headed back up. 10 hour Stokes, fresh cross up. 12 hour Stokes lose momentum, been headed up. After being down. I'd call that a bullish setup actually. What else we got, baby? What else we got? Do we want to talk about GBTC? Not really. Nothing new happened there. It doesn't trade over the weekend, but I'd imagine it's not even appropriate because we're not gonna see it open up until tomorrow. Let's go talk about the top shitcoins, huh? And I've been getting a lot of messages about this. Hey man, when I use the term shitcoin, it's just a term of endearment. And most of the things in this market are shit, to be quite frank. But hey, if I name your pet altcoin a shitcoin, it's just an easy way to say it, man. It's too hard to say it the other way. So fair enough. I'm sorry. There's going to be some casualties in this. Anyways, let's go check out Mr. Beaterall first. How's he doing? Where is he at? 250. And again, actually defending the 377 well. So this one, a little bit of a fake out here. Very rarely do I see it like that, but hey, it can happen. We do see daily Stokes actually still headed down, but taking out the prior high of yesterday's dildo does seem good to me. Here's what I'd say about this. So this is what I can stick over to. If we do close this next daily dildo or any daily dildo below the 377, yes, I would look for a more sizable retracement back down to the low 200s, but that doesn't look like it wants to happen to me. This reaction, pretty damn good. And of course, this is why I always say, when in doubt, default to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the easier chart to read. And especially when we're talking about Mr. Beaterall right over here on Finex, the moving averages are going to be fucked around because Finex has these weird premiums that, that come and go, right? So it fucks around with these sorts of things since we just don't have a even way of doing this. We actually are about to get a golden cross on the daily as well. So I'd say that this is more bullish than not. If I had to pick direction, looking at the weekly looks fine to me. If the weekly closes anywhere above 230, I'm bullish on this, and I'm bullish for a move much higher actually towards 360ish area, 370, maybe even 470 over time. It's not going to happen at the snap of a finger. It's not going to happen to tomorrow or today or anytime soon, maybe like months down the road, but it's kind of what I'd be thinking, some good things going on right here. Again, daily setting up for a golden cross. Not a perfect one, but decent enough. Let's go check out Mrs. Litecoin. Let's go down to the lower time frame for just a second. Yeah, 4 hour looks constructive here. Support right around 240. If it does want to pop back down, be looking for that area. I mean, technically we are kind of in an area right now. We do have this nice trend line forming right here, right? So in our prior highs, obviously right here. So if we do break back above about 270, 269.5, if you want to be more exact, then yeah, I would be looking for that next move up. If we do break back down below this area, 234, that would be your initial warning signal that we're going to likely retrace back down to about 210 and lower 200. What else we got? Mrs. Litecoin, what's this beautiful bitch doing? Yeah, same sort of thing over here. We do remember that this trend line is still in play. If we do rally up, I would be looking for resistance right around the 101 region. Support, more preliminarily speaking, around $90, and 4-hour Stokes getting erect once again. Daily looking okay. Again, this is why I have that rule. If you have the golden cross, which we've had the golden cross, this one was like the first one to get it, and you're above the 21 exponential moving average, I'm not bearish. So looking at this, we did get our move back down to about $83.50, but it got picked up beautifully, and I do think that this one does try a little bit higher here. Looking at the weekly, gonna be very critical to see where it closes the weekly, just because I wanted to close with more of a body to the upside, and I think that it probably is likely to happen. That would just insight that we likely have more continuation. Looking at the weekly Stokes, they've been down for the past like 3-4 weeks. Price action's been up. Again, they've just reset. Weekly RSI looks fine to me. What else we got, baby? What about Cardano over here? Cardano, yeah, going to be a critical weekly close for this one as well. If this one can close anywhere above 1050 Satoshis, I'd be willing to call this a massive local low with potential to be a cycle low. But certainly a local low, which would incite that we have probably a test back up to about 1,400 Satoshis, give or take. If things get really crazy, maybe even 1,700. But for right now, need to see that weekly set in. Of course, it's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is absolutely critical. If we close anywhere above about 1,000 Satoshis, I'd say probably good. If below 1,000, not so good. Would actually incite that we have some more continuation of the downside. Let's go to the lower time frames for a sec. Lower time frames are bearish actually right here. If I'm trading the 4 hour, I'd be looking for a move back down to actually 1,000. Not good, man. Not good. BNB count. Oh, BNB, beautiful, baby. Leading this market to the upside. Wow, powerful BNB, powerful CZ. CZ, I love you. CZ, don't butt fuck me with your non-withdrawing exchange. Of course, I don't even trade there, man. I don't care to play shitcoin relay. But looking at the weekly here, very powerful. We've been talking about this for a while, man. This one's likely to get higher, actually. Looking at the weekly Stokes, they're going to actually cross back up to the upside. And this is what I mean to say is when you're in a trendy move, when you're a strong trend, they're going to stay in that area. That's a good thing. Looking at the weekly RSI, this is a good RSI. This is a good bounce off the exponential. Now, it is getting a little bit extended. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we're going to very likely put in some bearish divergence on the next high. But how high do we get before that? That's anyone's guess. I mean, this thing can get. We're in blue sky breakout territory. Daily looks good. Daily wants more continuation to me. I don't have targets for something like this. I mean, if I had to do something, I'd do like a very, very crude way of doing this, which I don't trust all that much. But something like this might have already even hit it. Yeah, we already did hit it. Yeah, I don't have anything to say about this. Maybe something like this. And where would that put us at? Oops, too much, man. Too much tuna. $32.50. I actually don't think that it, well, do I think that it stops there? I think that we probably do get there, actually. Definitely one of the most powerful charts in cryptocurrency right now and has been for a very long time. Zcash, grinding resistance out, but consolidation out of major resistance at the 79.5 region. Not a bad thing. Actually does typically imply good things, but on the weaker side for sure. What I'm really more importantly, it's all about the weekly right now for most of these things. It's all about the weekly. Do we close above $70? Good. I'd be looking for another pullback around lower $70 and then probably continuation higher towards 105. But of course needs to wait on the weekly. Bcash, again, another one of the ones that's a little bit on the stronger side. I do think that this is a good pick me up right over here. Do you think that it does charge past, or sorry, does charge towards the prior high of 450? $500 big resistance, however. So again, we'll be getting a bullish cross on the moving averages here. So I would give the nod to the upside. Tron Cash, what are we doing here? Tron Cash, again, as long as we close anywhere above 2.65, I actually do think that we get some more continuation to the upside. Weekly Stokes been down for a while, and we've just been sideways. So that is, in my opinion, a good thing. Weekly RSI would be setting up for an up move as well. Neo Cash, if we can close anywhere above $11, I do think that we get continuation to the next level, somewhere around 15 and a quarter. EOS Cash, actually one of the stronger ones as well. I don't have too much to say about this. It is one of the stronger ones and actually looks pretty good here. Very constructive. As long as this thing holds 586, good. If it loses 586, then yes, I'd be looking for a move back down to about $5. So do keep that in mind. A very critical area right there. Ripple Cash, Ripple Me Nipples. Looking overall decent here. I need to see the weekly close above 37 cents. This one's difficult though because it's like a fucking popcorn, right? Where it pops up and comes all the way back down all the time. We see it all the fucking time. But do we potentially have something new going on here? We have weekly stocks crossing down. Its price action's moving up. That's bizarre. I'm hesitant to call anything here, but of course, with the general market, it's easiest to rely on Bitcoin and just look at what Bitcoin's doing, and then extrapolate that to whatever your favorite pet altcoin is. This one, if it could close above 40 cents, that'd be massively bullish. But what does the daily look like? Daily's getting held at the 377. I'd say as long as the daily maintains above 35 and a quarter, I'd have a bullish bias. Monero Cash, what's Monero Cash doing? Again, another one of the stronger ones. I'd say that. The levels aren't so clear. I mean, the big level for the downside is 77 and a quarter. As long as it holds 77 and a quarter, I'm overall bullish on it, and it is going to get a golden cross relatively soon. Now, if we could actually move past 89 and a half, I would front run that golden cross actually, just because it's very likely to happen, and we'd probably have a move, probably be targeting a move somewhere around here, around 110, 115. Yeah, overall looks like one of the stronger ones. Stellar Cash. Yeah, actually really good here. You see the way that it's holding the 200 exponential moving average, this purple moving average right here? Very nice. Very, very nice. Do you think that it gets another shot at 15 and a quarter? Okay. All right. So let's also talk about... no, I think that's about it. I think I've said just about everything that I want to say. Probably spoken enough already as well. Although these videos upload super fast now. I've incredibly fast internet, so it takes literally less than a minute to upload these videos, and the processing takes 15 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever it might be. But at my old place, it's taking 20 to 30 minutes. It's fucking crazy. It's like you got shit to do in the day, right? Anyways, yeah, with that said, I'll start to wrap this bitch up right now. Let's go back to the 4 hour. I think this is the most clean and clear chart. Not like my face right now, but bullish bias as long as we maintain this uptrend line right here. What is this uptrend line coming around? 7,200. 7,200, very, very critical, because that is around where CME is closed on Friday. If Bitcoin spot is trading above where CME is closed on Friday at 71.75 by 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight, then I'll be a buyer, or anywhere around this area, anywhere in a pull. I'd be willing to play pullbacks, or at least scalps off these pullbacks. However, if Bitcoin spot is trading below 71.75 by 7 p.m., then I would actually be looking to be a seller anywhere around this region, around 71.50 to 7200. And so I'd actually be probably targeting move down to about 68 to 6900, which potential to initiate that much more bearish move that we talked about before. But I think that that's the less likely thing to happen right now. Overall, while I do think that lower time frames want to pull back a little bit here, to me, it just looks like, we're kind of in the process of reaccumulation as this thing, slowly but surely just shuffles its way along. To the upside, 8350 is the magical number. If that area gets taken out, perhaps I might even front run that at about 8300. If that area does get, closed above on like a 2 hour, 4 hour dodo, then I would be looking for, the next big leg towards 9600 to 10,000-ish area. By the same token, if this area gets broken to the downside here at 6900, going to be targeting to move down to about mid 5,000s, certainly the low 6,000s, but very, 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 very likely also the mid 5,000s. So again, stakes are high in this region, and in overall, big trade setup emerging in front of our eyes, but a little bit of patience here is going to go a long ways, because this is the apex on this triangle. If this even is a triangle, is going to be way out. That's going to be in June, right? It's going to be sometime in June, so it's not happening anytime soon. Anyways, with that said, until that happens, just just plain supporting resistance. Obviously, more preliminary resistance right here, not too strong, right around 80.20. Big resistance right over here. Preliminary support right over here, 76.50, and I guess you have to a lesser extent this area right over here at 74, but not as big of a consideration in my mind's eye. Actually, in fact, I'm going to get rid of that one right now and make this extra clean. There we go. Make it as simple as fucking possible. Anyways, that's going to do it for today. Been an absolute pleasure to speak with you on this lovely Sunday morning over here from Tallinn, Estonia. Want to be wishing you all once again, and with that said, I'm going to leave you off. I'll be back on tomorrow with some more live stream and video analysis. So with that said, take care and see you soon.